Hey guys, it's Lamp. What do you do if you're making a video about music and bands and then an album comes up in the video? You put the entirety of the album in the middle of your video before talking about it to refresh the viewer's memory while staring at them with your PNG soda like the dude behind you. That's what I do. That or put the album cover on the screen. Album covers are awesome and pieces of art, and I'm tired of pretending they're not. I'm always clapping my hands high whenever a Mr. Graphic Designer decides to do his musician friend a favor and make an album cover for him. Oh, this is bad, but I still like album covers in general. I think what makes them so appealing to me is that they're nearly the entire visual extension of the album. Aside from music videos, which portray single songs and not the album, the designers are always forced to make the best representation of 70 minutes of music all in a little square. That's why movie posters and book covers never go all out on their visuals. The two either already have plenty of visuals, simply don't need it, but both of them do not benefit that much from super stylish visuals. Music, however, does, because songs always have to give up a vague mood or scenario with them, and a well-fitting cover art to give the listener a good anchor point can make the music they're with so much more immersive, cool, and make the music better. Anyways, let's talk about some specific album covers. So where do we start? Let's start with the most racist one, Talking Heads Remain in the Light. Now after I told you that, you probably went, Remain in the Light? What's racist about that? It's just a silly little cover that depicts the paranoid social climate of the early 1980s that uses the style of a loud newspaper and a dry and vibrant color scheme that mirrors the nervous and quirky mood of the Talking Heads and will come to be very associated with them. What's so racist about that? And to that I say, you think weird. And also, can you even see with your sight? Come on, look at them. The heads are doing red face. All of them on full makeup, full shaded Martian people. All without a lick of empathy. I mean, sure, it was pretty acceptable in 1980s. Hell, Martians were getting discriminated since they came down here, but let's look more analytically. First, on this cover, they used literally state-of-the-art technology in 1980 to do it. A huge leap in technology, and it was wasted on Martianism. Worse yet, I've seen people defend it and say this is a metaphor for the government censoring the public or whatever. I call bullshit. These schmucks were showing their hate since they were on the map. Do you think it's a coincidence why the Talking Head 77 cover was all red? And to add to that, here's an interview from the time it was released. Mr. Boone, can you explain to me why you chose the scandalous face painting on you and your band members of your most recent album's cover? It was a mishap that I take back. I am indifferent to the discrimination of Martian people. Also, I'm joining King Crimson. Here's how a new album looks. Oh, fuck! Exactly. Let's do something more bright. In fact, let's do the thing right up from the last one on the RIM Best Albums of All Time list. Abbey Road. Let's set the scene. The Beatles are making their last album, which is this one. After George, Ringo, and John finished their 7-hour-long argument on which musical key they should play I Wanna Find a Woman that'll hold my big toe till I have to go, a song that didn't make the cut, after John inked Paul's shoes. Paul was not affiliated with this argument, but it worked anyway. Paul enters the room and says, "Hey guys, I got a really cool idea for an album cover." So you know how we walk in places we do it synchronized style where George interrupts and says, "Paul, if this is another cover where we're doing 1,200 takes for like the last one, I'll kill you with a hammer." "No," responds Paul, suddenly holding his notebook for song ideas and writing on it. "I say we snap a picture of us walking over the street." Suddenly, Ringo, who's been staying still in his drumming position for the past 7 hours waiting to play and disconnecting from reality and fighting God in the process, does a triple 360 front flip to Paul and excitedly says, "A completely simple but effective cover that will be taken less for a minute and not at all result in anything more than good and nice." "Heck yeah, drummer," Paul responds gleefully. He turns to the rest of the band and asks, "Up for the task, lads?" Can I bring my wife to it? And so, the most accidental masterpiece of an image of all time was born. Really, I'm pretty sure the Beatles wasn't guessing to have their not that planned picture have painting composition. I mean, I'm sure there was a bunch of fourth hop, but it's shocking. Well, I'm not sure why they kept Yoko Ono in the picture. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand why. And to further your suspicions that I am into cult of R.I.M. and only listens to top 100 favorite albums of its liking, Nirvana's Nevermind. Now, you can probably agree with me when I say this ain't no banana in a whiteboard or anything, more just a standard grunge cover that got iconic from its music and not itself. But did you know this wasn't actually photographed for this album? Yeah, that's true. It's from a newspaper article in 1991 that had the headline, "Fisherman Catches Jewish Baby." Crazy, right? The article is about how this American fisherman once went to the Massachusetts harbor with beer to dunk a $20 bill down for any nearby fish prostitute in the area when a recently birthed Jewish baby smelled the money from over the ocean and rushed out the hospital to cross the entire Atlantic Ocean in 20 seconds, snatch the money and come back to its very terrified and confused parents. The picture was took a moment before the tragic robbery happened. Quite a generous move of Kurt Cobain to forever set in stone this tragedy. Generously, he'd memorialize some more tragedies, like the cover to Always Mine, with a guy telling the other guy there's gullible on the ceiling, or the Out Utero cover with a guy reaching down a pile of greed from Yu-Gi-Oh! Ha! Joking. These albums are actually like hoobastank. So are you homophobic or homosexual? Personally, I'm homogenic, the Bjork album from 1997. It's one of my favorite covers because of how simultaneously fucked up and goofy it is. And it's like that one PS3 commercial where a baby looks at a grill and goes postal, and those 4K realistic Japanese games with robots and gore and stuff. She chose to do the cover really mirrored and synchronized because things structured like that are very organic but also definitely artificial. Then she put on this pretty cool Japanese fit which I approve, even though this golden neck thing made me think her neck was stretching out her body like a giraffe. But then for some reason she glues two pool floaties on her head, which is such a bad haircut I can only imagine stemmed from the time she was in an 80s new wave band. I also imagine she stood for like 2 hours or so there for her hair to be made into that, only for after it did get stuck trying to leave the room. But you know, maybe this is just my opinion on things, seeing that she's inexplicably getting come down by water guns in this cover, and not just little spurts, they're straight up water gunning on this haircut, so at least like 6 other sentient creatures like it. I should also mention how after her appearance on Vespertine as an opera woman getting topped by a gooseneck in broad daylight, she fully commits to the high alien look in all her releases. You got her as the hive mind overlord behind the insane clown posse on Drawing with Strain 9. You got her as Tina Turner if she was the goddess of a forest on Biophilia. You got her as a rejected extra design for The Shape of Water on Utopia. If there was an alien military hierarchy set up in the Milky Way, she's probably already got every single medal in there and can now $0 people in real life from it. Unfortunately, she had to be jailed inside a vase in the Volta cover art to keep her power levels down. Bummer. SCP contained. Now, do you think I would never have made a video laughing at album covers without going over Aphex Twin Smug on the RDJ album? Well, that's because of a reason. Let me tell you a story of why that is. In 1997, just a week after the album was released, an urban legend began to spread about it that said if you encounter this album on the record shop and never so much as chuckle at it, Richard Dastardly James himself would appear as the reflection on your bathroom mirror replacing yours, pick up the toothbrush you were holding from your side, stare you dead in the eyes, and start brushing your teeth for you before leaving. I'm telling you this urban legend so I can switch the background to a record store and put the cover way too close to the screen because your teeth stink. This cover is exactly how you do an iconic silly cover, like Weedo's Latitude or Trap Mask Replica. They're the most artistically designed shitposts ever. That's a niche we should invest into. If you stumbled upon these things during your daily 5 hours of scrolling on a dopamine site, like there aren't infinitely more meaningfully fun ways to do, like trying out drawing or digging around in a Walmart with your friends, you might go, that's a funny pic, and move on. What you might never go in that situation is to notice how much thought this meme has when you look for it. You got the designer move of nudging your shit to the side for some sweet space and to make it look like he's sneaking up on you. There's some good contrast between the blaring white void and Apex's really dark red face he has. The way his red face skin condition makes the cover better but his life not. Isn't it great when you see worth in the worthless, all by just not immediately consuming something like a thief, stinky masturbator? That's enough unholy organic electronic music. Here's Slim Spider-Man with a band poking out of pretty deep water like we heard some beachgoer about to throw a car barrier on the sea after a Jewish baby steals his fish bait for the millionth time. It's evidenced by the band's various expressions. You've got the guy in the middle looking dismayed, knowing full well he's about to get murdered. The guy behind him, who was doing the same thing as the guy in front of him, only to see a really cool fish in the lake that distracts him. This guy's drowning, and the guy on the right isn't a band member act. And it's just the Chinese white boy stalker that's been swimming for the river with them for 2 hours to find the alleged spider land they were traveling to. Now I'll come clean and say I only listened to the first 3 songs off this album before my interest went down, because indie music is for virgins and I will totally have sex in the future, but this is the best cover that could have happened with this album. The black and white coloring with the black bars sandwiching the white boys checks the old-timey horror movie vibe neatly. The visuals of heads poking out of the water is iconic as it is interesting. The way you can imagine them just setting up the whole thing like we just walked down there without putting your clothes away and have to pick under from it. The all-around roughness of the thing really ties the thing nicely as an album cover. And now, from one dark and dingy and serious cover to screaming medieval Jonathan, Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Tied with Pet Sounds as the best albums of all time to have really awkward covers. I mean, what other album do you know of such a story happening? It starts with this guy on a stripper pole provided by Mother Nature with all fantastic plant armory. He's doing it in the woods because this is the Mutant Spider Strip Club over at Spiderland. Before he steps down to reveal he kind of has a face. He kind of has a face now. Oh fuck, he has a beard and shit. But while he's going, just as his face exists, a spider launches a burger into his mouth. As we know, if you eat a burger, you die. So he fuses with his past selves and liquefies into a tubby custard. And his last words before sealing his fate: Black Sabbath's Paranoid, in a silly font. Okay, I'll be real, this cover bangs actually. But people who look at this and laugh at it are always laughing at the awkwardness, because aside from that, it fits really well. The vibe of a grimdark epic fantasy movie from the 70s is pulled off well here, especially with the big colors on the guy. And the actual scene is discernible on this one, with a 70s guy popping from behind a tree and ambushing you, and a pretty good choice for what to represent on an album art for this album. Also, props for the guy who made this for making a cover fit the rapper on the cassette, despite that medium not getting popular in like a decade. Well, that's probably a coincidence. And what about the cover to With the Beatles, one of their early albums? I mean, as an album cover, I like it a lot. It's got pretty good composition and layout, and they pull up a fancy header, but like, what are we trying to make the Beatles seem like? Like, look at these creepy bugs. Because the thing they ended up doing here is make me feel like the Beatles are a posse of vampires who use their fame to lure groupies away so they can feed on them. Okay, we have Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney glaring at you all engulfed in the dark pussy of your gigantic mother, all probably drugged by humanity, and then you guys just look at it and go, wow, cool album cover! And to make it even worse, the title is With the Beatles. Am I locked in a room with these guys? Is this the last thing I see before they come charging at me? Either way, it doesn't make it better. But what it does make better is my Beatles are vampires conspiracy theory I've been making for a decade by now. Yep, this has been my life's work for a while. I could make a 5-hour video about why that is. You can ask me to do that, yeah. Also, the only reason I did 2 Beatles records here was because this one got me the idea to do this. And now, before I unveil you the last album cover I give sexual connotations to, have yourself some honorable mentions in the form of album recommendations. This is when you find out I am really based in my music taste. The Pixies Bossa Nova. The Pixies go shoegaze for an album creates the most existential lesbian sex jams I've heard. Yes, it's close to the edge. You can make a philosophy off of this album. The Silver Apples, Silver Apples. After many decades, the mystery as to why there was a big-ass synth in the middle of an Amazonian tribe cave has never been solved. But it's probably when they were making this album. And having fun with it too. The mothers of inventions only here for the money. Who gave Muppets LSD? And why was their first instinct to make an avant folk rock album about how much they hate hippies? King Crimson's Discipline. Remember to close all doors when playing, to keep yourself from buying an autobiography of a yogi while it's on. Calm was his first utterance. Remember to close all doors when playing, to keep yourself from carving out Eastern symbols on your chest with your teeth. Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells. Mike drank cold water after drinking Coca-Cola for 3 days before making this. The avalanche since I left you. This record is so fresh and alive. But if I got this on vinyl, I would be worried it'd start hacking as I took it out of its box. Godspeed you Black Hat Bros, lift your skinny fists. This album probably killed someone after playing it a little too loudly. Captain Beefheart's Trap Mask Replica. Okay. So this whole section of the video was just me giving one-liners to sell you on these, and with this one I have too many to choose from and none quite put in a nutshell. So after workshopping this one for 1 month to really get you to listen to this song, which I think you should, even if you think it's trash. It's one of my favorite albums ever personally, but you should anyways. So here's the line.
A squid eating dough.
And finally, the moment you've been waiting for. The last entry on this list. Please, everybody, welcome. Hey, guys. Today, we're reviewing the color black. Honestly, aside from the color white, can you name a bigger color than black? Heck, half of my album cover shows some good quality dark. Black is an absolutely groundbreaking color. Not only is it the most popular pick when drawing, you can really see these everywhere. It's a great one to main with its high attack and great kick move. Some might call it OP, and I do kinda agree. I do think it gets balanced out from being prone to be stuck on an analog horror character's face. I think that's a pretty big weakness that gets overshadowed by the hype, honestly. One time, I stepped outside and saw Black, S tier, and a Lime, D tier, duking it out on the grass with their powers. And that line was getting its shit beaten. Not only did it not have good defense and agility stats, but it was sheer at blocking the Black's Bing Blast. Only for it to do the unthinkable and manage to trap the Black on a copy of Hot Space by Queen, rotting us for being thrown out 30 years ago by my window, managing to line-lick kick it until it dies. Do you realize how many copies of Hot Space there are on the streets? Just go outside and scan the grass. You'll find Freddie Mercury. Nations fell trying to fix this. I went to watch multiple color sports where they put up missing poster signs of someone's pencil in order for the rest to have some fair chances, which is pretty reasonable. And hold on, wasn't this a video of the album covers? Yeah, I think this video isn't there anymore. I guess well, bye guys, I'm gonna go talk about colors by myself. Bye!